some of the chapters are.
It is 6:31. Welcome to Universal City Council meeting for, oh wow, it's July the 15th already.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's now called to order, and let's go for a quorum check.
Give me 1 second. Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Here.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Here.
Councilmember Putt?
Here.
Councilmember Rubal?
Here.
Councilmember Shelby?
Here.
Councilmember Vaughn? We have a quorum.
All right, I have a quorum. The invocation tonight will be by Mr. Rubal, and I will lead us in the pledge.
Heavenly Father, please guide and protect those involved with the difficult task of recovery of the Hill Country victims. Please guide them to return the lost to their families. Give this council the wisdom to protect our citizens, especially our children and the most vulnerable among us. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Be seated. Call for a vote for approval for Mr. Vaughn's absence. He is on a well-earned vacation with his family. And call for motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we excuse Councilmember Vaughn. I feel empty because I'm not filled tonight.
Second.
Actually, that was a pretty good one. Second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye for Phil, no for Bear.
Councilmember Rubal?
Aye.
Motion carried.
There we go. There are no citizens to be heard signed up tonight, so we'll move right on into staff reports. Understand that the SARA presentation has been moved because they had a scheduling issue, so that will be on the 5th of August.
Correct.
Anything else to on the staff report by any chance?
No, sir.
So with that, we'll move on into a public hearing. At this time, the public is invited to address the resolution 9872-2025, establish eligibility to participate in a tax abatement and adopt guidelines and criteria for governing tax abatement agreements. It is 6:35. We're now open. Anyone like to discuss or mention or
Like to give a presentation, if you'd like me to give it.
Let's do that first.
You'll understand what we're talking about. Thank you. So a tax abatement program is at the will of the city council. There are 6 steps to making a tax abatement program happen. Tonight, we're going to just talk about 2 of those. That first one is you need to declare your eligibility, and then you need to adopt guidelines and criteria. The next item, which if we move forward with this evening, will be to designate a reinvestment zone or zones. And if we approve the resolution this evening, we'll be back on August 5th with ordinances for reinvestment zones. I think the main things to understand about a tax abatement program is that the guidelines and the criteria are very broad, and they're broad for the purposes of giving the council flexibility as they move on. The tax abatement criteria and guidelines do have to be readopted every 2 years should you decide to move forward. You can amend them at any time. If you choose you would like to amend them, it does require a 3/4 vote of the city members of city council to approve that. That is for both approval and a reauthorization. We have a city website that we've set up so people can follow along in this process with us. Also, we are required by law once we adopt or approve an actual tax abatement request, all of that stuff will go on the Texas Comptroller's website as well. So one thing I want to say, just because you're adopting this, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to give one. You're not obligated to give one. You're just obligated to your requests for them, and you can approve and deny them as you see fit. Then for the designation of the reinvestment zones, you can have more than one zone. There's some specific naming terms that we have to follow, and staff will take you through all of that. For the reinvestment zones, we will be holding a public hearing. Part of the process for holding the public hearing is we do have to notify any taxing authority that has a relationship with Universal City. So of course that would be Bexar County, Guadalupe County, the Edwards Aquifer Authority. And the reason that we notify them is not because it affects them, but within their guidelines for tax abatement, they can include ours in there as well. Or any applicant that applies for a tax abatement from the city of Universal City also has the authority to go to those entities and get a tax abatement, but it has no relationship with Universal City itself. It's just notifying them what we're intending to do, especially the taxing authorities, because they play a big role in the assessments and the abatement process once it's approved. So for a designation of a reinvestment zone, they're typically commercial and industrial based. When we do a tax abatement, it expires after 5 years, the reinvestment zones, which is odd. So there's a lot of different timelines. The criteria is only good for 2 years. The reinvestment zones are good for 5 years. If during the process you don't reapprove your guidelines and your criteria, and you already have reinvestment zones and abatement program projects out there, they continue on. It's just that we can't accept any new applications. And then we have abatement agreements, which would be, one of the fourth and fifth steps. And those, of course, are done as formal applications to the city council. It's unusual because, unlike most things, those requests are not open to the public. They are considered confidential up until the moment that the city council actually approves the abatement. So should you get an application, you would be expected to go into executive session to discuss that with staff or staff and the applicant if their applicant is present. When you do an abatement period, you can post date it. So you can say, yes, we're going to approve it now. It doesn't take effect until December of whatever year. So you have some flexibility in that. The other thing is that you can limit your tax abatement on tangible personal property for new equipment, inventory, supplies, and things of that nature. When you have a tax abatement program, it has to be eligible for both property owners and leaseholders. So you have to treat every property and every project regardless of who owns it and who's making the request. And then one of the great programs, so any improvement, repair, development, or redevelopment taking place under an agreement needs to conform to our comprehensive zoning ordinance, which we have in place, or it can track along with the planned unit development, which the council, P&Z and council have done several planned unit developments. It can track with that as well as the zoning ordinance. And then I think maybe a few other things that you need to know is you don't have to give identical terms. You have to give identical terms to people within an investment zone, but you don't have to give them the same levels of abatement. So that's where the flexibility goes in. For a tax abatement as a whole, you can never exceed 10 years. That is state law. You can do 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, whatever you choose to do, but you will never be able to see a 10-year period. Then let me see. I think this goes without saying, but we'll just say it out loud. Any property owner or lease that is owned by an elected official or an appointed official of the city is excluded from the tax abatement program. A lot of this obviously will be in writing, and so you'll have sufficient time to look at it. Because it would be done in executive session, we would still provide you the documentation early enough for you to look at outside of our regular agenda process so that you're prepared for that. Everything has to be done in writing by certified mail, so expect our mail budget to go up. And then every agreement has to have specific language in it for the terms of the tax abatement program. And let's see. Abatements have to be approved by an affirmative vote of a majority, the abatement itself. The criteria to adopt and revise is 3/4 majority. And then, of course, we always will post a public meeting notice when the city council is going to be taking any of those items into consideration. And other than that, that's all I have this evening here. I'd like to move on to comments from the public.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we'll close the public hearing at
Sorry.
6:41. I have no one signed up for, so I was closing it. My apologies. But I am going to reopen it temporarily because this is a public hearing, and since no one signed up with the briefing that Ms. Turner just gave, it may raise some questions from some of the audience. So if anyone would like to speak, please come forward now or raise your hand. And if no one would like to, yes.
This is for property taxes, right? Their
Yes.
property taxes?
Yes.
And does that include school districts or?
So each taxing entity has to consider a tax abatement program separately, but the state of Texas prohibits school districts from doing tax abatement.
So this is strictly city taxes, city property taxes. Any other questions or any other comments from the audience? Then we will officially close at 6:42 and move on to announcements. This is with respect to each item listed elsewhere in the agenda. Members may report on items of community interest and community or employee awards, proclamations, events, and recognitions. Normally, as a city manager, you have a few items to start us off with.
Yes, thank you. I just want to remind everybody, it's so nice that we have children here. We appreciate all the parents bringing their kiddos. This is the last weekend for the library program. Saturday's a big, huge day, so if your children need to go for a washing machine, we do have our big bubble party, which is for kids and adults, and that is going to be at the library on Saturday. It's a blast to actually, it's bubbles and foam, and it's very large, almost the size of the parking lot, and everybody gets a chance to run through it. We do recommend that you bring a towel, and once you're wet, you can't go back into the library because of the paper. But that's the only thing I have.
Okay, thank you very much. I am going to defer mine to last because I've got a long list of items here, and some of it's going to steal the thunder of some of the council members on there. So I'm going to let the council members go first, and then I will follow. About policy that I set up, whoever does the invocation gets the honor to start the council members' comments. That would be Mr. Rubal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Certainly, Mr. Mayor, there are pros and cons of abatement programs, which we'll discuss later. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Certainly, there are pros and cons of tax abatement programs and must be considered in the context of all support for the initiative that's being provided. And that, again, I'm sure we'll discuss later. Number one, there is in the minutes a discussion of a discourse between myself and the golf course consultant with regard to sales tax numbers generated by the golf course. I met with and gotten the sales tax numbers from our city manager, discussed them with our finance officer, and essentially my statement of the approximate cost of the sales tax was in line with the actual 12-month period reported by the golf course consultant. I'm not exactly sure, and neither, to my understanding, is the staff where he got the number that he used. But in any case, I'd be happy to go over that with other council members and staff. And basically, there's just so much that we should be thankful for. Obviously, that we missed the floodwaters. We must be concerned, however, that there are 166 properties in the immediate floodplain within Universal City and 177 properties in the 30-year floodplain in Universal City. So we must look forward and make sure that development, when it occurs, doesn't put people in future risk. And that's all my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Putt?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
One more. A call out to the flag ladies. Each year around the 4th of July, essentially, Rubal, the company that formerly was in Universal City, but still supports us greatly. The ladies walk around and they place American flags in almost every yard within the city. And then secondly, a shout out to the local flag lady that walks up and down Balboa Drive to make sure that there are 15 to 20 flags on each resident's property. And it was just an amazing sight to see. Thank you, Miss Lee, and I'll just call her Miss Lee because she probably doesn't want her last name out. So those are my shout outs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ms. Putt, over to you.
Okay, well, the flood has, I think, affected all of us, whether we have somebody there or not. But this last week, all I'm hearing about is Universal City and what they've done, and it's overwhelming. So I thought I'm just going to tell you all of the ones that I know of, and I know there's many, many more that have done this. We have the Schaefer family. They've raised over $17,000 in donations and tools. And they have personally driven up there several times. They're getting lists from these rescue groups of what they need. They're buying chainsaws, they're buying oil and gasoline. They're getting ready to fill a 250-gallon tank and take it up there. But they've also been, and here she comes, they have also been up there being a part of the rescues. And unfortunately, they have been there when several victims have been found. And I just want to thank them. The caring, the sincerity that this family gives this community is amazing. Okay, now I'm going to go to our public works on their weekend off. They got together and they went up and they worked at the Center Point camp for special needs campers. And they spent the weekend getting this camp put back together and doing whatever repairs that they could. And I think no matter what our public works says, they always make us proud. They're kind of our unsung heroes, but they did a great job, and they don't want any accolades for it, but I'm giving it to them. Mama Mo's Barbecue. I don't know how many of you know Mama Mo. Monica, she is working with a group that is taking food up on a regular basis, and they're feeding the volunteers and the responders and the displaced, and they're taking donations through Thursday and they're looking more for gift cards now because they have a lot of supplies. Greener Grooming and Four Kings, they had a drive and they're showing their love and care beyond our city limits. They've taken food, they've rescued animals. It's just another example of what Universal City does. And they're still taking donations, and one of the biggest needs now are things for their cadaver dogs. They're wearing out their 12-foot leads, not the retractables, but they have special leads and they need boots, these animals do. So they would prefer gift cards, drop them off at Greener Grooming or at Four Kings. They look after this entire community. And this one's really special because those of you who've been coming for years knows that we have a group of very young entrepreneurs that have come before this council for the last 3 years. Every year, they have a lemonade stand and they stand out, and last year I think it was 104 degrees, and they've donated to Parks and Rec, they've donated to Parks Partners, they've donated for Homes for the Homeless. And if you all would come forward. I would like you very much to meet the future of Universal City. We have Julia and Parker Tennis, Finley, Poole, I got it right, and Kara worked it, and Preston Poronsky, who is not here. They were all part of it. These kids baked cookies, they made friendship bracelets, and they stood out there. And who's going to tell this audience how much money you raised for Kerrville? Parker? How much money did you raise? $2,000. Every year, these kids have found a charity or something they want to work for, and this was just amazing. Even UCPD stopped and really checked the cookies out. So another hand for these guys, because they...
Actually, one last thing. These were really special cookies. What kind of cookies were these?
Count Mystic.
These were Count Mystic cookies. This was the recipe used at Count Mystic.
Oh, wow.
And I understand you brought some today?
Yes.
I tell you what, just put these out there in the, goodness. Let's put these out front. Let me tell you something, first-hand experience, I bought a bunch. Let's put these out front, and anyone who would like to make a donation can put it and take a cookie with them tonight as they leave.
That's fantastic.
So let me do that.
Thank you all.
Thank you ever so much.
So I'm just going to end it on saying, you know, this puts our faith back in mankind. These kids are our future. These businesses support us. We live in a really amazing place that can turn something so horrible into something very heartfelt. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Shelby?
I have nothing to say, thank
You
you.
can't top that.
I have no thunder, just a lightning.
Mayor Pro Tem.
You know, we always say that UC is a special place to live, and what Lori just talked about is really exemplifies what makes it so special here. We really do throw in, and I'm so proud of all the people that have participated, and it's heartwarming. So, and say extra prayers for the people that they're still trying to find that's displaced. And I will say one other thing, back to UC. Tomorrow is Tasty Table at the library. That is a program that they do every other month, and what they do is they pick a cookbook, and everybody cooks a recipe, and then you talk about what your experience was, and then everybody can try the recipe. So it's a good way to meet your neighbors, try some different food, and see if you find a cookbook you like. That's all.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
She's going to kill me for doing this, but Mrs. Schaefer, she just ducked. It's behind that window, and she's the head of that family that has done all this work.
Please come in.
There she is, right there. Thank you.
Didn't really want to embarrass you, but we did. Mr. Goolsby?
I'm good, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I'm going to finish it up because there was a couple of things that I didn't want to steal that thunder because that was some good thunder. In the giving portion of it, at our Thursday afternoon social gathering at the event center, we had about 60 people there. I think Ollie and Caleb came in and just made the announcement that what they were working on. Within 15 minutes, they collected $1,500 just in that few minutes alone. And then we know about all the other stuff in there. I'd like to, this past week, city manager, myself, and fire chief and assistant chief and a couple others went to Austin. The American Legion had their state conference, and Lieutenant Zach Moore was awarded the American Legion Firefighter of the Year for the state of Texas. Wow. Only one given. And a great honor for them. It was a nice presentation, the plaque that he got. He got to meet one Medal of Honor recipient from Vietnam, which was he was also a firefighter, former firefighter. He is now in competition for the national level. It's automatically going in. He won the district, went to state, and now we're into national. So I'm looking forward to that one. This was sponsored by the American Legion. I want to do a little side note. American Legion Post worldwide are actually looking for new members. This organization was founded by veterans and it's for veterans. So just a quick, don't want to embarrass anybody, but if you're a veteran, please stand, raise your hand. It's not mandatory that you be a member or anything of that nature, but they're looking for younger members. I've been a member for a long time, so if you fit that mode, please take a look at the local post or the post in your area. The Veterans Foreign War is also looking for additional members too, and I'm not recruiting, but I'm just putting the plug in since they support our department and our people and our community. Both of the organizations, Universal City, spend a lot of man hours and person hours and woman hours throughout the city, throughout the year. So it's really only right to do that. Saturday, House Representative 118 John Lujan did the ribbon cutting for our new district office, his new district office, downtown Forest Street. It was attended by over 100 people. He had Senator Cuellar, County Judge Sakai, Tommy Calvert sent his best wishes. He couldn't quite make it. But the neat thing about it is Congressman Cuellar and had a whole lot of really good things to say about Universal City. Judge Sakai has some things about Universal City and about Mike Sines, by the way. Representative Lujan really likes Universal City and it holds a special place, so I'm kind of thankful for that. We're actually getting some good coverage from not only the state level, but also all the way to Washington. I just want to end with, I am so proud to be associated with so many kind, generous, loving people in Universal City. We have them in the other cities too, but they keep coming over to Universal City to visit. And then they have to go back. So I just want to thank Universal City for all the great things that you guys do. And with that, we're going to move into consent agenda. Make sure I didn't leave anything in between, but skip one. All matters listed under this item are considered for routine. We only have one, the minutes from the 17th June meeting. Call for motion.
Move we approve the minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Carried. Now we're going to action items. Reconsideration of the minutes of the 06 May 2025 regular meeting with amendments. Call for a motion.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? Then call for the vote.
Councilmember Rubal.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
No.
Councilmember Putt.
No.
Councilmember Shelby.
No.
Mayor.
That's
That's three. There's no
Oh, sorry.
there's not a tie today there. And I would have to abstain anyway because this I was the subject of that.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Motion failed.
Okay. Item B, Resolution 966, 2025, EDC Storefront Improvement Program for Billy D's, 1850 Pat Booker Road.
Thank you, Mayor. For this item and the next one, Michael will introduce our guests and allow them an opportunity to talk about their businesses, and then he'll give an indication of the EDC's vote.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Mayor, Council, so as you know, the EDC offers a storefront improvement program where they consider and then more than likely grant a business owner to renovate their property, exterior, interior, with items that will stay with the property if they were to vacate. And so this past week at EDC, there were two applicants that made their presentation, and they did receive each a grant from the EDC. And again, just a reminder that the improvements have to go in We have to double check that the permit was closed out, that everyone was paid, all the contractors were paid, and then we reimburse them the amount that the EDC granted. And so the first item was Billy D's at 1805 Pat Booker Road. And so Vanessa Flowers is the new owner of Billy D's. She's made significant improvements to that property over the past year, I believe it is. 5 months. 5 months, wow, better. And she was granted by the EDC $35,000 for improvements to the exterior, interior, and property improvements to the parking lot. So Vanessa, if you'd like to say a few words or answer any questions that they might have.
Hi. So I obtained this bar. Didn't expect it. We've done a lot of improvements within these 5 months. We were closed down for a month. Spent about just under $70,000 to improve it on the inside. But nobody knows what we've done on the inside unless you have social media or word of mouth. For those that haven't got the memo that we are the place to be in UC via social media, the only way that we are able to get new faces in, and unless you walk in there, you're not going to know the improvements that were done. So our goal is to get the exterior pretty, parking lot, paint, make it look pretty, so that new faces recognize what has been done inside and will go inside. So once we get those new people to recognize just from what's been done on the outside and they go inside, I feel like our sales will increase dramatically. We've already, in 5 months, next month, August 23rd will be our 6th month. So in the 5 months, we've tripled from our income, sales. We tripled from opening to now. So, and it's crazy. So once we get the exterior nice and we get new faces in, I feel like we're gonna do really well. Really well. So, yeah, I mean, this will help us a lot. I already spent a lot of money, so I can't do anything more until a while. So this would improve and help us dramatically. So I appreciate the opportunity for this even to be, given. So that's that.
Shelby,
I'd like to move for approval.
I'll second.
any discussion? Let's call for the vote.
Councilmember Shelby?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay. Take a deep breath. Exhale.
I feel public speaking, so.
Resolution 966, 2025, 2, EDC Storefront Improvement Program, Barger Law Firm, 1201 Pat Booker.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So as you mentioned, this is the Barger Law Firm at 1201 Pat Booker Road. They did go before the EDC last Thursday. Again, they're going to be making some exterior and significant interior improvements to that property. Jason Barger is here. He's the attorney who owns the property and the law firm. And so they're currently leasing in Universal City, and they'd like to stay within Universal City with the property that they own to continue their practice. And so they provided quotes for a total amount of $125,000 that they would like to spend on the improvements. And the EDC has granted them $50,000 should they follow through. And so I'll turn it over to Mr. Barger.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today. We came before City Council a little while back to get a variance for our zoning that we needed. I'll graciously approve that and appreciated it. The building that we're taking over, you may or may not know or recall, it used to be the beauty salon, I think maybe back in the 70s, and the interior really hasn't changed since then. It looks very outdated. So we're going to be redoing floors, lighting, walls, painting, but the exterior is also, I think, really important. I would assume that it's important to the city council because we want to make sure that what we're doing reflects a progress for the city and an improvement, especially in that area of Pat Booker where some of the stores may not be meeting the standards that we would like to see in the city. Not to disparage anybody, but we want to be a catalyst or be part of increasing what looks good and what is showing vitality and success in the city. And I think that what we presented to the EDC and what the EDC approved for us will get us there. And so we were very happy they approved. Not they didn't approve everything we asked. They gave us approved a very generous amount. And so I humbly ask this city council to, I guess, ratify what they've approved and allow that to go forward so we can do the changes that we need. I sincerely appreciate the time to talk to you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Call for the motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
No other discussion? Then call for the vote.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item D, ordinance 657A/2025, rules of decorum, first reading.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a revision to the rules of decorum. It was brought to our attention that perhaps some of the wording was not appropriate or maybe a little too firm. And so we're trying to soften some of those features up. So we have this ordinance before you this evening. It is an ordinance, so it does require 2 readings. Thank you.
Call for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Mr. Mayor, we have water and we have sodas on our dais, and we have a motion that will prevent our citizens to have a sip of water type thing. And so with that exception, I cannot vote. Point of order, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Could we just talk about adding something like that into this? If you want to amend it, that'd be great.
As a matter of procedure, we've never stopped anyone from bringing water into the facility. Now, if you're carrying a red Gatorade, that's a different story because it stains the carpet. And even the city has had food in here sometimes. I don't think.
It would be a great courtesy, I think, to the residents, especially when things go very long, Mr. Mayor.
Remember, this does apply to the other boards and commissions as well.
Mr. Wilson? Sorry, Mr. Shelby?
No, please. I mean. Did that change? I don't think that changed from the previous version.
No, it was always.
It's always been in there.
It's always been in kind of the city policy.
It's more of if it becomes a problem, we have the verbiage to cover it.
We've never had a problem.
I'm going to leave my motion as stands.
Okay. So, continue with the vote.
Councilmember Rubal.
No.
Motion carried.
Item E, consider bid acceptance of the 210,000 gallon Kitty Hawk ground storage tank rehabilitation project.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, Council, what you have before you is a consider bids for the 210,000 gallon Kitty Hawk storage tank that's located at the Public Works yard for the rehab of the project is going to entail sandblasting and painting and getting everything up to TCQ standards. The low bid came in from CFG Industries LLC in the amount of $110,000, and we're asking for authorization for the city manager to execute the contract. I will let you know we did budget for this in our CIP of the utility fund in the amount of $209,000.
Any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Randy, just when we look at bids, we always question when we have a spread of more than 10 to 15%. We always question what's going on. Can I question what's going on?
Sure, because I had that same question. But they did a thorough background, and I had my own set of questions that we asked, and there was nothing negative from the other cities that had their tanks painting working with this company. So really, and you'll see in the engineer's letter as well, he states that. So there was nothing, because there was other ones that we worked with on here that were a little bit higher, but they felt confident, so I'm going to go with their recommendation.
And we're carrying a contingency and all that.
Yes, I got plenty of contingency with that.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the little baby one behind the large one we just did, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then kind of follow up on Mr. Goolsby's question. This company, how long have they been around? Do we know?
For quite a while. I don't know the exact amount of years, but they're reputable based on the conversations we had with the owners and our engineer.
What's the impact to the city when you start this work?
What's
the impact to the city when you start this work?
Right now, with that 1 million gallons completed that we completed there, we can keep everything on that tank. So there's very little impact unless something happens to my 1 million gallon tank. But it's raining tank, we'll be fine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Move to approve.
Second.
And call for the vote.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 987-2025 establish eligibility to participate in the tax abatement and adopt guidelines and criteria for governing the tax abatement agreement. I'll call for the motion.
Second.
Second. And now for discussion. Mr. Rubal.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Basically, when reading through the proposal and particularly history, I found that with the help of the city manager, I found that this discussion on abatement actually originates from a prior council in an agreement for consideration for the project and so forth. There are definitely pros and cons, and I realize that this is kind of a footstep for things that may happen in the future. And there are obviously pros and cons of abatement programs. The biggest con, and I mean that as a negative, not as a con, type thing, is the loss of revenue to the city that will be providing services for a period of time to the developer. And that's the biggest con. The second problem is that there's a bit of unfairness with regard to the fact that there are businesses that don't get abatements and that may have similar development efforts. For example, we have apartments going in that haven't had an abatement, and there will be, as part of the reunion project, at least part of the apartments. Now, I realize, looking over the state legislature with regard to this, that there's a considerable amount of flexibility within the abatement system. However, it does establish a precedent,
And I think it bears looking at the overall relationship between incentives provided by the economic development group and also the significance of the impact on ad valorem taxes for the citizens of Universal City. So, in light of this kind of coming up as a tail onto the reunion project, it would be good, I think, for council to appreciate the fact that EDC is into the project for $5.2 to $5.3 million for infrastructure development, and they did that through a bond, and through that bond for that $5+ million type thing, when interest is added, that is a dollar cost of approximately $1.80 for every dollar that's going into the infrastructure for the reunion project. So essentially, there can be tremendous gains, but there can also be tremendous losses with regard to revenue issues. And aside from that, sir, when we look at these huge development groups, they all represent outside interests, often outside, not only the local region, but outside the state of Texas. And so the money that they recoup from their development is not being directed to the viability of our city. It's taken away from the city. So for those reasons, I'm very reluctant to move forward with this resolution at this time.
Mr. Goolsby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So when I look at it, I think Councilmember Rubal kind of touched on it. I like it as another tool that the city has to help entice people to invest over $100 million. I think there's only one person in here that might be able to do that today in Universal City, but I do believe that I was harassing a number of this. So I appreciate when we get these, when we have someone that's willing to invest in our area of, millions, and when I say millions, we're talking over $100 million, or several $1 million. And for EDC to invest in a project like that, I feel like that's only the EDC's job, is to help bring in either businesses or things that enhance businesses, or that will bring more businesses in. And what a lot of the developers are looking for are more rooftops, more people to bring in those things to help abate those taxes. So when you talk about abating the taxes, I believe, Ms. Turner, please correct me if I'm wrong, you said 10 years is the max? Or you wouldn't see an abatement of longer than 10 years or even 10 years?
You don't have to go to 10 years.
Exactly, but I believe that gives Universal City one more negotiating tool. So while I can relate with what Councilmember Rubal is saying, I'm seeing down the road and I'm seeing the opportunities open up. And it's not like we have to accept everything that comes in. We have to hear it, but we do not have to accept it. And there's always negotiation. And the last thing we want to do is make something that's, everything we talk about is to bring in more of that ad valorem tax and more sales tax opportunities. Right? And by somebody investing this kind of money, I believe that we can negotiate on it, if we even have to, a time limit, so that within a few years, whatever that is, those taxes are realized at the city level. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Shelby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bear, thanks for taking most of what I was going to say. No, that's where I'm at. One, it's a tool we don't have right now, in my mind. It's one that the city's had many years ago. I don't think it existed. I don't remember whether it existed when we were up here, but we never exercised it. In my previous tenure up here, But to eliminate the tool altogether before we even have a chance to use it, I think is a little, it's not thinking a little forward there, because what we don't have to use it. But if we don't have it, we don't really even have the option to think about using it. But also, while this is guidance, we as a council can look at each request independently and determine how much, how long, on what, because it's my understanding it can just be on the land. It doesn't have to be on new development. Is that correct? Like, so if they, so help me with that. So I mean, somebody comes in, they buys a piece of property and they want an abatement for a period of time, then they start developing on it.
It can be on the land until the development happens, and then you can stop it on the land.
Okay.
Or you can continue it on with new development. So a couple of items. In particular with the reunion, Mr. Rubal is talking about a loss of revenue. Well, there's no revenue from that property, that particular project right now, because the city and the EDC own it. The initial discussions with reunion was, you know, they are investing a lot of money to purchase the land. Once they purchase it, we're still under construction with utilities and infrastructure for anywhere from 18 to 24 months, and they're stuck paying the taxes on the property. And so, yeah, I think the intention of City Council was to give some relief on that. Once they actually start the projects and they hit development stage, the discussion then was that the abatement's over. It's just to get them through that initial period until the development is up and running. Was talked about with new development, but not for existing development. So that's when I talked about the fairness of the abatement policy. It is for new development, but it is for existing developments also. You may not have any existing developments in your reunion project, but if you wanted to expand it, you could pull in Walmart and HEB, and if they added, you know, additional square footage on that new development that they had would be available for it too. Same whether it's in the aviation district or any other commercial district within Pathfinder Road. If somebody came and said, I wanted to do a project, I want to consider tax abatement, council has the authority to create another reinvestment zone and consider abatements in those areas as well. So it's for new and existing. And then precedent setting. So there is no precedent setting in abatement programs. Every project has to stand on its own, and every project has to have its own return on investment, which makes sense for not only the city, but for the developer as well. And if the city thinks it doesn't make sense for the city, then council just chooses to vote no. And then Mr. Rubal talked about entities being outside of the state of Texas. You know, when you're in a big city like San Antonio and Houston and Dallas, yes, you are using it to bring business in from outside the city. Typically, for Universal City, we're not getting national corporations or international headquarters that would be affected by these things. But I will say, at least for the reunion project, it's a Texas corporation. They're all Texas business people. So just putting that out there. Not that any of that matters, but there is still a Texas link to the project. And if somebody in Universal City owned a business and they decided they wanted to expand and have new development on their land, we could create a reinvestment zone for that project as well, and they could participate in the abatement project.
But when it comes down to it, what we're doing today just opens the door for us to consider.
You're only setting the framework for consideration.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Yes,
One more thing, I apologize, Mr. Goolsby. One thing I wanted to point out, when you go out and look at abatement criteria for other cities, whether it's Shirt, because they have a huge industrial area, they are asking for $2 million of investment up front and, you know, 100 employees. We tried to craft this particular one so that it would work for new development, but really with the low investment and the low employee criteria, it would really work for an existing business in Universal City as well. Again, giving the council the flexibility to even reduce the amount of added value and the number of employees.
Mr. Goolsby.
She covered.
Oh, she did.
Any other questions? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Putt,
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal,
No.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Carried. Resolution 988, 2025, update 2026 Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority resolution.
This is proverbial government box checking. We've already approved this resolution and the actual project itself. The state changed its resolution. They want everybody to re-adopt it using the new one. So that's all you're doing is re-adopting the resolution in a different form.
Call for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item H, this packet was amended recently due to a resignation from one of the boards. So we had a last minute input, and it was that individual was nominated off of the packet of volunteers that had submitted applications. But approval of the board and commissions, reappointments for the 2025-2027 term, the BOA, LAC, the PARCs, and the PMZ. And call for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Are these people gluttons for punishment?
Yes, sir. Every one of them.
Okay, thank you.
Verified. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure. At 7:26, adjourned.
Good meeting, guys.